This is Big Rob. I'm back. See, I don't have my Big Rob hat on today because I'm getting a couple of them redone. So I just show you who I am. But I just came on and, you look behind me. We're sitting here in the library with a lot of books. So um, this week, we're pushing to get our parents and our young parents to go online and register for your children for a library card. I, I probably, wanted to just say, like, when is the last time have you really been to a library? Have you really just, when, outside of high school or being in college or working on your master's or your doctorate, and now that COVID is running rapid, but just think about it. When was the last time did you grab your daughter or your son's hand, and you walked up those steps into a library and got a card? I remember back in the day, my grandmother used to be like, "Yo, you need to go to the library. Why don't you take yourself down the street to the library? Go get a book." And I remember us going in the library, and they had games and they had all kind of activities, and we can go upstairs and grab a book. And I used to go through all the Cat in the Hat books. I was a big Cat in the Hat fan, and I found out that those books shaped my thinking. They shaped, you know, who I am today, because I had a person in my life who walked me through a library and showed me how the library was set up, um, and how to look for a book. And certain areas were set up for fiction, nonfiction, horror stories, and and if you want to just search for something, and they had a legal area, they had a Black History area. Um, so now what they did was everything is online, so people could just Google stuff and pull stuff up, and they had an iPad over. But the experience of going into a library is amazing for a child. So I'm reaching out to you young parents and young fathers who have them children and the next generation. Expose your child to a library. Even if you just go one time, just see how they respond. Get them used to having the feel of a book in their hand. And I know we live in a digital world, but it's that feeling about having that book. Like my daughter just hit me, and she said, "Daddy, can you bring me my book?" I said, "Okay, you want me to bring it down?" Or, I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I'm gonna leave it in the mailbox because I had to get to the airport." And she's like, "No, no, no, no! Don't put my book in no mailbox. I want my book. I want you to just hand me my book." Um, so I'm going to take this book over, and I'm gonna cherish this book because this book is very important to her. And when you see a child, um, is influenced and she wants to read, then you support that. You support that. My whole mission is to empower young people in underserved communities to start reading, start picking up the book and read. Um, and you don't have to be the fastest reader. No, um, the race is only one in your head. You know, everybody starts out at one level, um, and some people get to the finish line early. But as long as you get to that finish line, I see friends getting their degrees at 55. Well, they crossed the finish line. That finish line is not the measurement of who you are. It's the measurement of how hard you'll work. I always share a story with Dr. Spell. I said, our focus was different coming up. He said to me, he said, "Sleep, man, you should talk about that." I said, "Bro, this is how can I not talk about who I was or who I am? That's my makeup. That's I gotta be me." I had one foot in the streets when I was in college. I had one foot in college. I wasn't focused. See, people have to understand also is that titles at the end of the day are nothing but jobs. You could be a principal, it's a job. Be a doctor, it's a job. They're all a jobs, right? Now, and it's what you do when you get in those positions with what you have and how much you're giving back and how much you're taking out to give back. And success um, comes in some crazy different ways. Somebody asked me, would you rather be Puff or a doctor? Well, I said, I'd be Puff all day because Puffy is a very successful young brother. And I take his position all day before I take it over a neurosurgeon. Because as much as a neurosurgeon does, he doesn't get that money that Puffy gets to help the world. So anyway, it's not what you do, it's how you do it and the reason that you're doing it for. No, I read this book called We, and the book throughout the whole book, it talked about when you take on like when you're building your business, you should build your business based on the concepts of you're going to help somebody. So when I started designing the Big Rob children book series and the Big Rob room and the Big Rob apparel, it was all about me helping underserved children. So now I help underserved children, and it's beautiful. And and as the residuals of selling apparel and selling books, creating animated movies, and getting streaming fees from people watching the movies, it's rewarding because I'm doing all this hard work, but I'm helping somebody. I'm helping a young person I may not never see. I'm helping somebody just in this conversation. But when I used to go to a job and work for a company um, and when I was self-employed even, which I am self-employed, and I was owning barbershops and restaurants, I was doing it for the turnover. You know, I go buy 100 burgers, I sell them for $7.99. Those some fries on there for $2. At $10, probably cost me $2.50. I made that turnover, and I do it 1,000,000 times, or I do it 100 times, or I do it 1,000 times a week. But all I saw was the flip. But after I read the book woo, and it talked about building your company and your institutions and to help other people, you'll find out that once you do that, the company that you're building becomes a love. So when you see me in here, when I talk about the babies, I talk about them because that's my initiative. It rewards me while I help. So when you so I push parents to go get those books. And I tell you, go to bigrob.com, bigrobchildrenbooks.com and pick up a book. Pick up the books I've done collaborations with and pick up the book I just uh, I wrote that I thought would help society. You know, Big Rob the electrician, Big Rob cooks for the family. Those are all things that have tools in them that these young people can use. And there's some talking experiences inside them that open the mind not only for the child, but the parent that reads to the child. So somebody said, Rob, why you don't put an age on it? Because there's two expectations of my books. One expectation is for the young parent or the parent to read to the child who may not read on that level. And the other expectation is for the child who can read it is to read. So I'm trying to connect the mother and the child together. So I don't put age 1 or 2. I put in the back of the book in the small words. My goal is to engage the parent to the child because a lot of times young parents and well as old are not engaging. They give them the game, they give them the iPad, and they give them the TV. And they after they finish doing cooking and doing all that, they give them the bed. No interaction, no connection, other than sit down, Joey, stop doing that, Joey. So I believe that when the mother or the father reads to the child, it creates a total connection that builds bonds of trust, self-esteem, and mental development. You don't have to be a child psychologist to understand that. You just have to be a parent, which I have been a parent. So on that note, I'm gonna just let you guys go, but coming up, Sorabella, I'm waiting for her new book to drop. She's supposed to send it to me in the mail, and I just want to bring this 8-year old in to talk about the book she just wrote, um, "Girl Being Bullied," and I think it's going to be. And that's another thing we want to talk about in the future is about the suicidal rate and the depression um, that COVID is bringing to our young people. So you young mothers got to engage them children. They're going through something, not being in school, online learning, not connecting with their friends, their peers. This is a time where reading to your child and using a book to create that connection um, can be amazing for a family. This is Big Rob. This is again we're in Big Rob's room, and I want you guys to click on the link and go to my YouTube page and subscribe. Go to my Instagram, click on like, follow, and just be a part of the whole movement of changing what's going on in underserved communities. Because we have to stand up and make a change. Peace.